Hey, everybody, what's happening? It's your buddy KV coming at you. As you can tell, I don't have my guitar on me today. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I am refraining from performing today, unfortunately. I'd love to be playing for you guys, but I think that we're going to be all right. I have some amazing, amazing, amazing guests. One guy I've known, I think I figured it out. It's like we're coming up on 20 years of knowing each other, which is crazy. Ah, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring them up. We're going to go ahead and just get this thing started. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we got Mr. Shane Henry. We got Miss Maggie McClure. Together, they are known as the Wonder Twins. No, the Imaginaries. The Imaginaries, people. Yes. Hey, what's happening?
Up? How's it going, man?
Hey, buddy. Hey,
Hey,
how
hey.
you guys? Man, you guys look all snazzy with your red velvet happening. Red velvet curtain.
Man, I'll tell you what, dude. We've been putting ourselves through some pains of learning how to stream concerts and whatnot. We just getting our tech all up over here. So
Yeah, man.
it's
It's
been,
true.
I've been texting you, So
Oh yeah, no,
this
dude,
has
and
been,
I get it. I get it. I mean, this is kind of the new normal, which
it
is
is.
kind of weird, you know.
It
Kinda
is. Well,
weird.
Maggie and I were in a studio space that had horrible internet connection, so the only way that we could actually go live was through a cell phone up until a few weeks ago when we moved into this new space. So now we're like super high tech because we have fiber
Nice.
internet. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What have you guys been up to? How's life in this craziness in this COVID era?
We've been good. I mean, life's been crazy, just like it has been for everyone. We've managed to stay well, we're so grateful for that. And we, of course, had this album ready to go for a little while, and we just released it on Friday. And it's been a really exciting week. It has.
It has. You know what's so cool is I remember, Ken, when I moved to Minneapolis, because you just had said, and I was going to try to blow your mind with it, but you already figured it out. Like, it's 20 years this August that we met. It's just crazy. And, it's amazing, too, that I was only 9 years old when I moved to Minneapolis. Can you believe that? I would be 29 in August. But anyways, it's just crazy that 20 years could go by that
And
fast.
it's gone
but
by fast.
It has, man.
God,
But,
it feels like yesterday.
it really does. And some of the absolute best years of my life. And of course, that era was just so great. But
God.
it's funny because Maggie's talking about the new album that came out. We recorded this album in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And I remember you were one of the first person that I ever remember hearing mention the word Muscle Shoals because you used to work with a guitar player that was based in the area, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wayne
which is-
Perkins, my
Wayne
sensei,
Perkins, yeah.
my sensei, my mentor, my guru, my guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's my guy. He was one of the Swampers, who were the original, cast of characters, the
Right.
band that was there. Started out. It was Jimmy Johnson who essentially gave Wayne his job. And what was crazy is you got Jimmy Johnson, who is amazing, and he gives his job to Eddie Hinton, who's amazing.
Right.
And Eddie and Wayne come in together, and it's like these three guitar players that are just ridiculous. And they've played on everything, man.
Everything, man.
Everything from Aretha to like Albert King. She caught the Katie, and Wayne telling stories about like those sessions with Albert King where like he wanted something to eat and he got chicken gizzards
Oh, my God.
from Kentucky Fried Chicken when they had chicken gizzards at
Oh my
KFC, and Eddie Hinton and Albert King ate chicken gizzards
Man.
underneath the piano that was
Oh
at
my
Muscle
gosh.
Shoals.
Wow.
And they sat and like laid down underneath and were just digging into this bucket, eating and talking, and it was like one of the most amazing stories. And
That's incredible.
when I heard that you guys were recording there, that was like one of those images that came into my mind immediately. It was like, where's that piano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now go underneath there.
Yeah, I mean, it was really like this crazy like happenstance. Back
Yeah.
in 2017, like we have to kind of back up to get
Yeah.
there, but we moved to LA, and we moved to LA officially in late 2012, and we were there through like kind of like the end of 2016, and then we were renting an apartment that ended up getting black mold, and we had to like move out of this place immediately. So
Right.
we put our stuff in storage. And our good friend Devin Powers, who I had met through a songwriter, Jeff Silbar, and had written some stuff with Devin. And I was currently doing, like, Maggie and I were doing, like, some cues work. Like, we were recording music for some of his TV shows from our home studio.
Sure.
And he had just bought, like, a studio house. He said, well, why don't you guys just move into my studio house? So we did that in 2017. And, like, during that time that we were there for about 10 months. And then my Light in the Dark album came out that's I guess it was like in April.
Yeah.
It was kind of during
spring,
that season.
summer.
It was the spring, summer. And then we went on tour, so our time in LA kind of ended towards the end of 2017. But he connected us with this guy named John Cunaberti, who was doing this thing called the One Mic Series. And, you know, we were kind of back and forth between LA and Oklahoma. And he said, hey, you guys want to come down and do the Muscle Shoals, like one mic? And we were like, yeah. And I sent him, you know, my record. And Maggie,
I sent him mine.
So we just kind of sent him everything that we did. And he didn't know anything about us. And he goes, well, I really like you guys both. Why don't y'all just do something together? And we're like, well, we've been talking about it forever, but we didn't really know what we were doing. So
Yeah.
that's how this all came to be. It was like sort of just crazy, weird luck, you know.
We had the
that
opportunity, and
Yeah.
we went for it, and it was an awesome experience.
So that happened in like April of 2018. And it was just us going down there, and literally we had some phone numbers of musicians in the area, and we had two guitar players, Will McFarlane and Kelvin Hawley, and I think we may have called Will first, and he recommended
That's
Kelvin.
right.
And because he was booked on a session, and if you look up Will, he played with Bonnie Raitt and just everybody. He's an incredible musician. And so we connected with Kelvin, and we called him, and it's just like, he's just such a laid-back, cool dude with this, you know, deep Southern accent, and yeah, come on down, you know, it'll be fun. And so we just showed up, and
He put the band together.
Yeah, he put the band together, and we like rehearsed the day of doing that, and then went in the studio and made music with these musicians that were kind of like, you know, I guess maybe third generation Swampers, because they've recorded on a lot of stuff in the studios as well. And
Wow.
And what was so cool is, you know, Maggie had talked to David Hood about being a part of our One Mic series, but he went in to have back surgery, so he couldn't do it. So he passed it on to Shauna Tucker, who's incredible. But the whole experience was just like, wow, there is something magical about this, and people talk about Muscle Shoals having a special thing, and you get it when you go there and
Yeah.
you see what it's all about. And
That is that's a bucket list thing for me.
you got to do it, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
have
everybody
to.
there is just so friendly, and just the musicianship is unbelievable. And they have a special thing that they bring to the table. And for us, it just kind of helped us sort of solidify we need to do a project, you know.
Yeah.
And it was so easy, you know. It wasn't like there was this lot of pressure of us figuring it out on our own. We had the musicianship of all these great studio musicians. And so anyways, after the One Mic series, we were like, okay, we're going back and making a record. So we had all these tunes that we'd written, and we just showed up, man, and we had 4 days of just joyous music
So
making. And it was
fun.
fun,
Yeah.
man. It was
So
like
you guys knocked that out in 4 days?
we knocked out all the tracking. Really, we had 4 days booked, and we actually, the One Mic was done at the Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, which is the Jackson Highway
Right.
original Swamper studio. When we went back to record, we did that at the studio was actually called
Portside Sound.
Yeah, Portside
Sure.
Sound.
Inside Cypress Moon Studios.
Not to be confusing, Cypress Moon is the building that when they moved the studio in the I don't know, it was the 70s. They needed a bigger space. They moved from Jackson Highway to the river. So that is, you know, the second generation Muscle Shoals Sound Studios. So
Unbelievable, man.
recorded it there, and I mean, it was awesome, man. It was just like the songs just flew together. It was really kind of our first experience, I think, in all these years of really doing a true cut it live. I mean,
Everybody at the same
everything was
time.
playing everybody's playing at the same time.
Wow.
You know, and even the record I did with Double Trouble wasn't really done that way. It
Right,
was done
right.
in a home studio, and it was an overdub process. This was a let's get it right the first time process.
Yeah.
And it was cool because it's just so much more vibe happens when you do it that way. And of course, we had isolation on the guitar cabs,
The
and
drums.
and went back in and did little overdubs with vocals and acoustic guitars, things like that. But the meat and potatoes of this record was all recorded live, and it was just such a freaking fun process.
Yeah,
man. It was awesome.
it was.
So-
We flew out our drummer, Rob Humphreys, from LA, and everybody else was Muscle Shoals
Yep,
musicians.
everybody else was
That's
Muscle Shoals.
fantastic.
And then we came back to Oklahoma after with all these sessions, and we're like, okay, let's dive in here. And we took our time, just going through everything and deciding if anything
Deciding
else
which
needed
take
to be
was the
added.
best, yeah, and all that stuff.
And we worked with our friend Chad Copeland. He's an amazing producer, just on some, final
primarily
touches
it was just
and
like
keys.
helping us with some editing things and some overdub things and just really tidying it up, I think.
Yeah, and you
putting a bow on
you
it.
had Dan play keys.
Yeah, my buddy Dan Walker, who's originally from Oklahoma, now plays with Heart. And
Really?
fantastic keyboard player. He started with Nancy, not Nancy, Ann Wilson.
Sure.
Started touring with her and doing her solo stuff. And I think this last year or two, before COVID hit, he did a tour with Heart, which was incredible. And he is just
That would have been the tour that we had seen. Yeah.
yeah. So you saw Dan on keys.
Yeah,
that was our buddy Dan. So Dan played.
Unbelievable.
I don't know, our luck was so bad, but like when we were at the studio, the Leslie broke the day one. So all of the organ tracks, like here we are making this like organic record at Muscle Shoals, and the organ tracks are like ignored. You know what I mean? And
right.
I mean, it's like everything sounded, and the parts were great, but it was just like that. We got to have that authentic sound. So
Yeah.
we just sent the tracks to our friend Dan, had him play it, and he sent them back to us, and it was great.
Just nailed it.
Yeah,
Love it.
nailed it.
Well, let's hear some tunes, man. Let's hear
Yeah.
a song off the new one if you don't mind.
You want us to start off with a revival?
Sure. Here we go. Everybody, this is the Imaginaries. Check it out. Shane Henry, Maggie, McClure. This is awesome. I'm so happy they're here.
Thank you for having us,
Enjoy.
Ken.
Yeah, thank you.
Wash away my worries till they are no more. Fill me with your mercy and love forevermore. Wash away my worries till they are no more. Never to be seen again no more. No Preacher told me there gon' come a day. Keep on walking, walking down that narrow way. People chasing, chasing money on their mind. All this working, working, spent up all that time. Hey, we're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives. Ooh, live our lives. Wheels are rolling, rolling. We have been set free. Eyes wide open, open on that road. Now we can see. Hey, we're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives. Live our lives. Take me to the river for revival.
Wash me clean, make me whole. This devil from my soul.
And I know that we come tomorrow.
My Lord, I'll be changed. Never be the same.
Hey, we're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives. We're on to something. Hey, we're gonna set it right. Hey, there's no tomorrow. We just gotta live our lives.
Wow. Wow. Right on.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all, man. So I'm just going to be straight. I'm going to be completely straight. I'm going to tell you this right now. I listened to your record and I didn't like it.
Really?
I loved it.
Oh.
I
April Fools, bro.
April Fool.
zing. Did it work? Did it work? You guys had the moment of
I know we're like,
I love it. That was
dick.
so great, man. That was just awesome.
what
That
a
was so
jerk.
good.
what do we say to that?
I know.
No, man, but for real, I loved it. I like I and you know,
Thank you.
we've known each other a while and you know, I love what you do anyways, but it's like this record has something for everybody,
Yeah,
which
it
is
really does.
awesome. Like,
It is,
and I
because-
was thinking about this today, man. I was thinking about this today. I was like, if I wanted to go, if like the whole record reminded me of like going back out on the road and having something like great like road music, right? Go and you throw it on, and it's like the best road music. I thought about like, you know, just having a get together, a barbecue, or like even just like a dinner party or something. Everybody's gonna be all right with that.
Sure,
If
man.
I just want to sit down and really absorb what's going on, you know, and just listen, because there's great musicianship and there's great songs and there's great tones and the sounds are fantastic, I would throw this on. Like, you guys did an amazing job. This is such a great record.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Through and
much.
through, every song, solid, bam.
Well,
just-
you know,
Thank you.
this isn't our first rodeo with it, but I'll tell you what, the one thing we realized whenever we knew that we were going to do a project together, that it was going to be real easy for it to be like cheesy and phoned in.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make sure that the songs were real songs. You know what I mean? This wasn't just like hey, let's go do a co-write. We need a song that sounds like this for the record. And that's why it's taken a little bit of time for us to develop this and
The brand,
the brand
sound,
and everything. And
yeah.
this we had about 30 tunes in the pile for this record, and the songs that we chose were songs that were real stories of things that really were resonating with us, and hoping that, you know, if our songs were real and we were feeling them, and that there would be sort of an authenticity about the project that other people might feel it as well. So thank
Yeah.
you for saying that.
Thank
No,
you.
and
very,
I
very
mean,
much.
I'm being absolutely 100% totally sincere. Like, I'm not just saying that. I can't stop listening to it. And I think
Thank you.
one of those things that kind of catches my attention is you guys have a song, you know, just like that one, Revival. And it's very blues based, and it lends to that gospel side, and it lends to that, you know, to your blues rock, you know, side, Shane. And
Right.
and I love that. But then you go from that to something very almost pop, you know, and then there's turns where it goes to like, you know, like a country kind of thing. And Maggie's voice, your voices together are fantastic. They
Thank
they
you.
work very well together. But it's, you know, what I find really great about it too is you guys have this contrast in a sense.
Totally. Like,
You
I'm
know?
so gritty and bluesy, and she's super clean, and like our voices shouldn't work together, but
They
do.
do.
They
somehow.
do,
Like, you know what
yes.
I mean? Like, it's such a because if you listen to our solo records, it's like we're as opposite as it gets. And I think that's one of the things that we always laugh about, because even like as personalities and stuff, we're a total classic case of opposites attract. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh man.
But
It works.
it works. And I think a lot of that too is, you know, a lot of people don't realize that back in 2008-ish to like 2012, there was about a 4-year period there where Maggie and I got into doing like the college touring scene, you know, and there was still like you could play the NACA circuits and like get into playing in colleges or whatever. And there was,
Right.
you know, you could do that and make some good money, and it could like sort of like you could build a tour out of it. And anyways, we did that for quite a while. And through that period of time, I would go out and play guitar with her, and like, you know, up until that point, I mean, I've always been a solo artist, always done my own thing, never really been a side man, other than like, you know, picking up a gig here and there and helping friends out. But
Right.
you know, the idea of singing harmony has never been something that was like a natural thing to me. Like, I didn't grow up in church doing it like Maggie did. And so, you know, back in 2008, and I'd start playing with her live,
Yeah.
you know, hey, can you sing this harmony part? And it would just be like, it would take so much work, but I would get it, you know? And it just, I think just the repetition of us playing together, sort of as sideman for each other's project, as just an acoustic duo. We were doing that for a long time before
Yeah.
this kind of
Right.
became a thing. I think that really kind of helped us make this feel so much more natural. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we'd done it so much. It's just that, you know.
Yeah, there's
Well, I
no
just-
substitute for playing hundreds and maybe even 1,000 shows together.
Right.
There's no substitute for that.
For
so.
sure. For sure.
Right. And I mean, I just love how the lines are blurred when
Yeah.
it comes down to genre.
Yeah.
Like it's like you guys take all the rules and you throw them out the window, and it's like,
Well,
it doesn't really matter. It's just you guys. What I love is that you guys seem to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys seem to be not just playing to each other's strengths, but creating something very unique because of who you guys are.
yeah. I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, it's funny because, like,
Thank you.
honestly, like, we do have a perfect match in that regard. Like, our strength sets are so different. Like, where I am strong, which is like working in the studio, producing Pro Tools, technical things, this recording sessions. Like, Maggie's strengths are helping with the management side of things. She's a music theory nut, so that always comes in handy when we're writing and recording, things that and we just really complement each other in
Yeah.
that regard, and obviously the harmony stuff. You're so good at coming up with harmony
well,
parts.
thank
and,
you. Shane can solo great.
I
We
can,
each
I
have
can,
our
I can play the
strengths.
minor pentatonic scale just with the best of them. Throw in that blues note every once in a while.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, thank you for saying that. Somebody last week in a publication said something about how they really enjoyed our solo projects, but this one it just brought it up to a new level that probably would not have existed if it weren't for this band and this project. And it's funny because we're not trying to blur any lines. We're just being honest and writing and recording and putting music out that we love and that means a lot to us. And so it just turned out that we are blurring the lines.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because two of the tracks on the record, Geronimo and Enough of You, were kind of like bluesy riffs that I kind of had in my back pocket that I was thinking about using for my next project, And I played that riff for Geronimo 100 times and just never really came up with words and stuff for it. And just one day I was playing it, the students just, why don't we just write a song and see what comes up of it? And it turned out super cool. Totally not a song you would have ever written on your own, and probably
No.
not a song I would have written by myself either. It kind of ended up
Yeah.
pulling it into where it's it's a story, but it's also it's not total blues rock. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then Enough of You, same thing.
Yeah.
It was a guitar riff kind of song, and we went for it.
Yeah. I'm so happy with the song choices on this album. I've got one sitting right here for all those watching.
Go
proud of it.
get that.
Yeah.
Go get that.
Yeah, dude.
And I'll tell everybody how to go and do that a little bit later.
Thank you.
You guys want to do one more here?
Why not? Let's
Yeah. I'm not playing this evening, you guys, unfortunately. So I'm
Do
gonna.
you have any? Did you have any particular tracks that caught your ear on the record, Ken, that you'd like for us to play?
Man, I'll tell you what. Yes, as a matter of fact, yes, I do, and I'm going to. I gotta remember the names here
Yeah.
because they were so good. The one, so Revival obviously was like right there for me, like immediately just hooked me in. But I was really getting into like either Walking on a Wire or Thinking About You.
Cool.
Those are awesome. And then the other one that I really liked too was You Remind Me, because I was so country. And
It
I
is so
Yeah.
country.
and when
it's
we
almost
when
like-
we come back, I want to hear. I got some questions for you guys individually. I'm excited to hear about this and
Sure.
learn more about y'all. Everybody, this is the Imaginaries. Check it out.
Let's do Walking on a Wire. I'm sorry, I'm tuning, guys. This is just to make me sound a little bit better. Here we go.
We're going to play Walking on a Wire for you guys.
Call that good enough for rock and roll. 1, 2.
Am I supposed to run? Run until my legs won't run anymore.
Am I supposed to jump until I fall straight to the floor?
Ooh, my heart's a restless fire.
Ooh, these bones
spinning round and round and round again. Let's get in bed, withered by all the things we said, all those things we said. Ooh, maybe this one's it. Maybe this one. Ooh, maybe next time, my friend. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Walking on a wire, and the waves are crashing under. We are walking on a wire. We can make it to the other side. We can make it to the other side. We can make it to the other side. We can make it. Walking on a wire, and the waves are crashing under. We are walking on a wire, and the waves are crashing under. We are walking on a wire. Am I supposed to run until my legs won't run anymore?
There's that blue note.
Getting fancy.
I love that song. I love that song.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Maggie,
Yeah.
tell me about your background. Like, where do you come from? Who are your influences? That whole thing.
Sure, yeah. So I started I started piano when I was 5 and instantly fell in love. I was one of those strange kids that just loved to practice all the time. And when I was about 8 years old, my parents got me a little karaoke machine and with cassette tapes. And I immediately got hooked, and the cassette tapes had people like Bonnie Raitt on them, Natalie Imbruglia, Sarah McLachlan, artists like that. And around that time, I started writing my own songs. And it's funny, when I was cleaning out my old upstairs room where we had all of my stuff from when I was little, I would find like lyric sheets. And it was just amazing to me that at like 8 years old, I was writing out on a piece of paper, verse 1, lyrics, chorus, bridge. Like that's just crazy to me looking back on that. But I really, really got into listening to music heavily when I was about 12. And my parents would take me to concerts. I'm grateful for that, and had a great music background. Like in school, we had music class. I was in choir. I was in voice lessons and percussion at school. I was in band and just super involved with anything I could get my hands on musically. So Bonnie Raitt and Sarah McLachlan remained very strong influences in my life and still are. And, as I got older, I started listening to different kinds of music, but I tended to lean towards female singer-songwriters who play the piano, obviously, naturally. And I really got into Carole King. I got into Norah Jones, Alicia Keys. The list goes on and on. And I was in a few different bands growing up, like in middle school and high school. Like my first band I actually played drums in, and we knew 3 songs. And for our first gig, we just repeated those 3 songs for like 2 hours.
Nice.
That's hilarious. I
Oh
love it.
man! But
You're doing well though, right?
yeah, but I love all kinds of music. You know, the older I got, the more I started listening to different styles. The Beatles, Coldplay, Train, all huge influences.
And of course, I turned you on to all my blues rock.
Shane introduced me
stuff
to a
that
ton of music.
You'd never heard of guys like Doyle Bramhall and Ian Moore.
There
No.
you
You're
go.
like,
Yeah.
who's this?
Yeah.
You know, and I just started shoving all that down her throat. Stevie Ray Vaughan, making her listen to Hendrix, Cream, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, and that was the thing that really
See, she-
linked Shane and I. Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like instantaneous. We were like, dude, yeah, Ian and
Isn't it so
Doyle.
funny too? Like looking back on that time frame, and like now we're both just such good friends with them, and it's like so weird that, you know. And even back then, you know, I was totally into the Brand New Immortals and listening to David Ryan Harris, and kind of knew about him, and then, you know, fast forward years later, it's funny how things work out, and you get to work on a record with people that you've just, you know, idolized what they do. I mean, I don't
Right.
know, idolize, but just really appreciate their music, you know, and they've had a strong influence on you. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Small
to
world.
see that little circle come around, you know.
Yeah. And I was going to add too, like, indirectly, I also think I was really influenced by what we call oldies, like
Yeah.
1950s, 60s
Okay.
music.
Absolutely.
My dad used to play KOMA, the oldies station here in Oklahoma, like constantly. And so I got hooked on like even the Beach Boys at an early age.
So Frankie Valley.
Frankie Valley.
That's
I
my-
mean,
that's
even
my dad's
Sam
favorite.
Cooke,
Dude,
you know,
man, Sam Cooke, man.
the
Sam Cooke is my
jams.
guy.
So
Can't beat it.
I love that music. And my dad also would play like Vince Gill around the house too. And even
Sure.
though I didn't really grow up loving country music, what we, you know, like modern country,
Right.
people like Vince Gill, I always appreciated it.
Alison
And now,
Krauss, you know.
and now I love Alison Krauss.
Gosh,
and
she's great.
Dolly Parton,
great.
and yeah.
I hear a lot of Dolly in your voice on this record in a good way, and I mean that with the utmost respect. You know.
That's really cool. And I honestly have never tried to sing like her. And it's funny, my dad is the first one who pointed that out to me like maybe 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, I think you were doing like you were actually covering one of her songs.
Well, I covered one because he told
Oh,
me
yeah?
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know, you really sound like kind of like Dolly Parton. Maybe you should
Man.
cover one of her songs. So I did. And then I was like, man, I do. Like,
On this
that's
record,
interesting.
yeah, on this record, it's so prominent, and I love it. I love listening to it. Before we get into another tune, what about like where did you get started professionally? Like when did you become professional? You know, and
Yeah.
we'll get into like how you guys connected and everything else
Sure.
on the other side of a song. But yeah, what did you do? How did you make your way in this business?
Yeah, well, I recorded my first, what I call my first real album before the one that I did after the one I did in high school that was just kind of thrown together. But I did my first real album in Dallas in 2006. And I was a freshman in college studying music, and it was a great experience. I worked with Will Hunt in Dallas, Texas, and made a 10-song record, and Shane played guitar on a couple of the songs. But
I really actually kind of pushed
yeah,
you to do that,
he
too.
kind of pushed me to do it and helped introduce me to Will. I'm sure I would have made a record, but I don't know if I would have done it there. Probably not. I wouldn't have known about it because your drummer at the time told me about him.
Sure.
Things happen like they do for a reason.
Right.
Yes, they do.
So I made this album and put it out, and literally, like, immediately, songs started getting placed on different TV shows like crazy. And I was like, wow, this must be how it happens, you know?
What shows, if you don't mind me asking?
So, like, at that time, shows like The Real World, St. Thomas, The Hills, you know, these MTV reality
They
shows.
weren't like huge placements, but you were getting like
Some of them
500 You
were.
were getting like 500 to 2,000 a placement on those.
Yeah, and
it
some
was
of them
crazy.
were big. And they would put my name across the bottom when
And
my
that was
song
like
would
that was
play.
and I remember that was like a time like where if you got your name on a credit, like she would get like
Tons of
you know,
downloads.
2,500 downloads of that song
Yeah,
the next
it's
day,
crazy.
and it was like whoa.
Yeah. Oh, and The Young and the Restless. They
There
used
you go.
a lot of that
You were-
album.
yeah, Grandma
Very
was proud of you.
dramatic.
Grandma was proud of you for that. Too.
Oh, yeah. So it just kind of started with that, and then I got a distribution deal on that record in Japan, of all places,
Wow.
and that was amazing. I never got to go over there. I really would like to.
It was so funny because there was a manager that approached you from Singapore, and he wanted you to come move to freaking Singapore and
Yeah.
live there for a couple of years.
I was like, I don't know about
It
that.
was so funny because like we were
engaged.
Yeah, we were engaged. We weren't married yet. He was like, "Yeah, Shane can come visit." I was like, "Yeah, I don't like the way this sounds at all."
Oh, wow.
We'll pass on that.
Oh, that's
Pass on
great.
that.
But yeah, I graduated from college in 2009, and literally right after that, I got a booking agent, and that's when we started doing all the college tours, and it all just happened really, really, really fast. And I continued to make records. I recorded my next one in Nashville, the one after that in LA, the one after that all around, and have had lots of blessings of placements with these songs, which is just huge, and very grateful for that. And so, I mean, I really became, I was playing shows and getting paid starting when I was 15, kind of like Shane. But, you know, once I graduated high school and then graduated college, that freed me up to actually, like, really tour.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
you kind of know my story, Ken, but I'll tell.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell for everybody out there. I mean, I pretty much got into music right around the age of 12. I want to say the summer of me turning 12. My birthday's in January, so that following summer, I got to see Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which was a huge show for me. It was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers with Taj Mahal opening. One of the first rock concerts I ever went to, and it was just like, whoa, what is this? You know, it was just so incredible. And, of course, I grew up in a very musical family. My dad was a guitar player, played in cover bands, but never really pursued it professionally. But there was always great music playing, man. I mean, I was probably the only 12-year-old kid who knew in little Verdon, Oklahoma, that knew who Steely Dan was, or you know what I mean? Like, I was lucky because I was blessed with parents that had a very wide palette of musical influences and music that they liked to listen to.
And you didn't have music in school.
I didn't have music in school, but I mean, I would, Stevie Wonder records would be playing, Sam Cooke records would be playing, Buddy Guy would be playing. The Beatles were playing, and my dad had a gigantic record collection, so it was always picking a record out and looking at it and checking out and just sort of getting immersed in music during that time. And it was very like, growing up in a small town, living out in the country. This is pre-internet days, and so I just kind of got lost in it, and loved it. And started begging my parents for guitar. That summer of turned 12, I got to see B.B. King at the Tulsa Blues Festival. I see B.B. King, Buddy Guy, and Bonnie Raitt. And I think we caught just the end of Kenny Wayne Shepherd playing, which was really cool. Seeing somebody that was kind of young doing the blues rock thing, and it was like, wow, I want a guitar. And so that kind of set me on my path to really getting into the blues, and just got a guitar and started coming home from school and just practicing, and just really kind of self-taught, to be honest. I started reading tab books and like trying to transcribe, tabs from guitar players, and listening to records, and started taking some lessons, but really kind of picked it up quickly. And by the time I was 16, I was playing gigs, and I would have like every weekend booked from the time I was like 16 to 18, from like my sophomore year to senior year. I was playing like every weekend. It was like my goal would be to have a Friday, Saturday gig every weekend, and my parents were super supportive, and, I was playing all over the area and starting to play blues festivals and stuff. And somehow I got in touch with, I don't even remember how it happened, but James Klein and Mickey Nord found out about me from Blue Sky Artist Management in Minneapolis, and they flew down to Oklahoma to hear me play. And the next thing I knew, I was graduating high school early, and I moved to Minneapolis, and that's kind of where we connected. And,
yeah, man.
And of course, I was 18 then, and I lived in the Twin Cities for about 3 years. And during that time, playing all the gigs around town, getting a band together, and in the process, I was working with a songwriter named Kevin Bowe. And I think that's kind of how I got connected with James and Mickey, was through Kevin. And we were working on a little 4-song EP. I'd already put out my first debut album, which came out when I was 17. And we were working on that, and, just starting to figure out how to be a real musician. I hadn't really got to play with the caliber of musicians that I was getting to work with in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and it's crazy out here. You know
It is
that.
crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, Minneapolis is such of a more of a music city than Oklahoma City ever will be, or and sort of. I mean, not to downplay Oklahoma City's music scene, but there was just a really great caliber of musicianship there that I'd not experienced. And the other thing that was cool was I was getting to work with musicians that were closer to my age. Everybody that I was playing with, in my band in Oklahoma was much older than me, at least twice my age, if not older. And just moved to Minneapolis, started playing around the scene, and that went on for, I would say, maybe a year and a half. And I didn't really know where things were going other than I was trying to make it, and at that time it was still like the whole record deal, wave of getting into the business. And I'll just never forget, I was kind of feeling it was a grind, because I had a day job that I hated, and was playing gigs, had a weekly gig at Bunkers, and was doing as much as I could to figure it out and try to make something happen. And I'll never forget, one day Mickey called me and she was like, we got some great news. We got you on tour opening for B.B. King. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I was downstairs at Bunkers, and I remember Toby Marshall was trying to get me to eat a weed brownie at that time. And my phone rang. And I wouldn't do it because I was such a goody two-shoes, man. I was so freaking straight on the air. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't going to drink. I wasn't doing any drugs. I'm focusing on being a great musician and guitar player.
Right.
And so I'll never forget, she called, and I got off the phone. I'm like, what happened? I was like, dude, freaking going on tour opening for B.B. King. And they're like, what? And it was just super exciting. And
that's awesome, man.
so that happened that was in 2002 that happened. And, it just completely was the most incredible experience that I've ever, even to this day, I've never had a touring experience like it. We almost got one, but we didn't get it. But
I remember.
maybe that'll be coming in the following year.
I'm hoping, because I remember this one, and this is
we'll get into
good
that
one.
in a little bit, but it just was this crazy thing, man, and I wasn't ready for that tour at that time. But how are you ever going to get ready for a tour of that caliber? You just go do it,
Yeah,
And
and
it
I'm
was
sure that it
totally
taught you a
awesome,
ton.
man.
I'm sure it taught you so much.
It taught me so much. Every night we were the first artist, and there was 3 other seasoned artists, and those all changed. But through the course of the tour, it was Buddy Guy, it was Johnny Lang, it was George Thorogood, it was Kenny Wayne Shepherd, it was a couple of shows with oh my gosh, a couple of other just legendary artists. It's just not coming to mind at the moment. But anyways, it was just an incredible experience. I came off that tour, man, and I was just so pumped, And I kid you not, get back to Minneapolis, and I had to quit my job to go on that tour. I was gone for a course of 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Get back from that tour, and I go in to meet with my manager, and they're like, well, how the tour was awesome, but we pretty much just broke even. And I'm like, we broke even? We didn't make any money? No, we pretty much, after merch and everything, all the costs and expenses, we broke even. I didn't have the money to pay my rent, and I was living I had a roommate with, and I was just so broke. And so I basically remember getting back from the last leg of the tour, which was playing the Hollywood Bowl. It was one of the last shows on the tour. I'm not kidding you, dude. In a week's time, I went from back to Minneapolis, couldn't pay my rent, loaded all my stuff up in my van, and moved back to Oklahoma. God, and I remember I was that following week, I was helping my dad, who's a plumber, which is, that's a great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's got to do that job. And, he got into it because my grandfather did it. And I just remember being so crushed, because I was working with my dad doing plumbing, and here I had just gotten this opportunity opening for B.B. King, and it was tough, man. It was a hard little period for me to try to readjust and pick myself up. And it was so funny looking back on it, because I felt my career was over and blah blah blah, and I was just freaking 22 years old. I was just starting. And anyways, a little time went by, and I was still working with the management company, and they called and they said, hey, this label, Ashaniki Records, they want to sign you, and they want to do a record. And so, great, So at that period of time, I didn't have a place in Minneapolis, so I was making trips back and forth to make this record with Kevin Bowe.
Right,
and I remember specifically staying at your house.
Yeah, man.
And during that whole period of time, which was great. And so I made this record with Double Trouble. Kenny Wayne Shepherd guest appeared on it. It came out in 2004, and I hit the road touring that. And it was another awesome experience, playing clubs all over the country, but it was also a tough experience. It was, was going out as a 4-piece band, my family was helping kind of bankroll us being able to go do this tour. And it got to a certain point where it was like I was losing $500 before I stepped on stage every night. So that was a losing proposition. That wasn't working. And so we pushed that on through the album came out, I believe, in the fall of 04. And I kind of toured it as much as I could through the summer of 05. And then we just were like, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm like thousands of dollars in debt. And you know, at that time it was just kind of, it just didn't work out. So it was a 1-album deal with Shawnee. They dropped me from the label. And of course the booking agent bailed, and you know, then the final thing was management was like, okay, well, we can't represent you anymore. And by the way, we've spent $70,000 on you, so we need you to write us a check, pay us back for all the money we've invested in you. And I was then 24, going, what do I do now? You know,
Right.
And so moved back home. You know, obviously that stuff smoothed over and worked itself out, and I have a great relationship with my management now, and you know, hey, it is what it is. But they had invested a lot of money in me, and I didn't have the money to pay them back. But moved back home, kind of picked up the pieces, started playing with bands, you know, with musicians that I'd worked with in the past back in Oklahoma, and recorded 2 records. And somewhere along the way is when Maggie and I met. You know, I want to say it was probably around
2003 is when we met.
We met in 2003, kind of during the back and forth before I moved there. But
Did you know that she was a musician as well?
yes, I did, and had never heard her play, because when I moved back in 05, that's when I kind of put the band back together of some of the musicians I used. And my keyboard player, Jim Robinson, I contacted him and said, hey man, you know, I'm back. I'd love to have you play keys in my band. And I was doing a show in Norman, down by the university at a cool club, and he was playing keys, and he said, hey, I'm teaching piano lessons to this girl, and she's really good, man. She's like kind of like Vanessa Carlton meets Michelle Branch. You know, they were real popular at the time. And she's got some great songs, and she plays keys, and she's just, man, she's only played like at Borders bookstore and, you know, coffee shops or whatever. Can she open up the show? And I said, sure, why not? Who cares, you know? And so she opened up the show, and that's kind of when we officially met, you know, and got to know each other. And at the time, Maggie was 17, and I was, I want to say 20 or 21. So, you know, there was at that phase of time, you know, the 4 years is kind of a big deal, you know.
Especially
Sure.
during, 17 to 20.
You know, you're still in high
17.
school.
Yeah.
I'm at drinking age. You know,
Yeah.
You know, we were obviously, I think there was definitely a spark there when we met, but you know, we were dating other people, and you know, it wasn't like, hey, this isn't something we can pursue at this time.
Yeah.
But, you know, a few years went by, and then later on we started dating, and the rest is history.
Now
So-
we've
And
been
I know
married.
you guys are together.
yeah.
You guys are
And then,
together.
you know, of course, I made another record in 2009 or 10 is when my Beauty and the Struggle record came out.
Right.
And then I kind of had a long period, man, of just, I don't know, life just, it can push you and pull you in different ways. And I kind of was feeling the need to, you know, just survive and make a living. And I kind of was, you know, I feel like I kind of lost my trajectory as far as being able to continuously put records out and tour. I was playing locally, and I kind of started working as a landman for a while and trying to make ends meet doing that. And that just kind of ended up leading me down a road that I didn't really want to go down. But we connected, and we were doing a lot of touring, and then we moved to LA, and we got married in 2011. And then we moved to LA, and, you know, we were there for 2012 through 2016. But, you know, believe it or not, that job kind of helped sustain us when we were living in LA.
Sure.
So it was
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
you know, everything works out for a reason. You don't see it at the time. You're like, man, why do I have to do this? You know, well, that allowed us to go out there. That allowed me to make a record with David Ryan Harris. That allowed us to connect with so many people in LA and have such a great 4-year chapter of our life, and just really helped elevate our songwriting and everything we've done. And then, of course, I made the Light in the Dark record in 2017. And that brings us back around to the Imaginaries kind of being born in 2018. I know that took a while to get there, but that's the story, man. So
That's
here we are.
amazing, but that's amazing, because I do know a lot of that story, but a lot of these people don't, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. And for those of you that I just saw a few people just tune in, and some guys that I know that are heavy on the blues side of things,
Yeah.
that may or may not know who Shane is. And yeah, he did go out with you know, Kenny Wayne Shepherd and B.B. King and Buddy Guy and guys
Yeah.
like that, like heavy duty stuff. And Shane is also one of those guys, when I would see Shane, he always had a guitar in his hand. And he was always practicing. It was always something. And he is another one of those guys that I love, because he is a gearhead, like I am. We're just gear nerds through and through,
Absolutely.
chasing tone, buying pedals, buying amps, buying guitar. Oh my
It's
god.
a never-ending search, man. You can see my 2-Rock over here in the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so funny, dude. Ken, like my other hobby is like classic trucks. I love classic
Right.
trucks. It was something that when I was like 10 years old, my grandfather bought me a 58 Chevy pickup, and we restored it. We went to Votech class, fixed it all up, and it was just I think it was just doing that with my grandpa. Like, it just made me love classic cars even more. And before I moved to Minneapolis, I ended up selling that truck, and of course, regretted it. Having to let it
Right.
go, but it was more about the memories of doing it. But since then, I've gotten into classic cars again. I'm back at home, and my grandfather unfortunately passed away this past August.
I'm so sorry.
But
man.
he left me a ton of old cars, and can't fix them all. But it's funny. I connected with Eli from 2-Rock through a classic car.
Wow.
And some Instagram posts and this and that, and ended up trading him a 1963 Chevy pickup for 2-Rock amps. It's
Well,
just
there you
hilarious.
go.
You know what I mean? Who does that? No one.
You do.
And, I do. And now we're great friends, over something so like, and I think he actually enjoyed it because it's his hobby as well. Like, it's his way of like, hey, I need to go do something completely different just to clear my brain and to fill up the like creative tank. Cause like, you get seasons of time like it's like, okay, I've played as much guitar as I can possibly play. I need to go do something else, and that's
Right.
why I go do something else to fill up the tank for fresh new ideas. And so we just kind of bonded over that. But yeah, I love gear. I love amps. I love vintage gear. I mean, I've got my brand new pedal board in the other room. We'll have to dive into that one.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of that thing, and I was
Yeah.
like,
It's crazy, man. It's really cool, and I love that stuff. It obviously doesn't make you a better musician, but it sure is a lot of fun to work with.
oh, it's a blast, man. It's
It
so
gives
much
you-
fun.
Gives you all the tonal palettes at your feet whenever you need them. And
Right, and
I
it's
wanted to build a great studio board because we're always working on stuff where it's not always just my thing. It could be a film and TV project, and I
Right.
never know when I'm going to need a crazy reverb sound or a octave sound, or I want to have it all at my feet. So
I was just, I was trying to tell my wife too. I was like, this is the one thing right now that I have
yeah,
that keeps me sane.
absolutely.
Because I'm not playing, I'm not out
Right.
doing the thing. I'm recording here and there, and
Yeah.
and when I'm not doing that, and I'm not taking care of the kiddo, I'm like down here just trying to get some tones happening.
Totally, and, I
And
told
it's so
Maggie,
much fun. It's
It
so
is.
much
It
fun.
is. It's so
What
fun. I
what
told
what are
Maggie, I
your
was-
hobbies, Maggie? I want to know that too, though. What are
Yeah.
your hobbies? If he's
Yeah.
doing the cars and guitars thing,
I am baking and cooking. That's
love
my thing.
it.
Yes.
I'm gonna show Ken something real quick. Keep going.
I've been gluten-free for like 5 years now, and at first I didn't know what I could eat, and it was really hard for me. And I found out I was allergic to gluten, and so I had to cut it out. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna start finding recipes and just try to make things that I thought I couldn't eat anymore, just in new and different ways. And so
Sure.
I love to try new recipes for dinner, and also, I like to make some cookies and different things like that every once in a while. Some approved donuts in the oven and different things like that.
I
So
love it. No,
it's
that's
a creative
fantastic.
thing for me.
Yeah,
I love it.
absolutely.
It's
So
fun.
as Shane is going over there, and I definitely got to get you guys into some new music or some music, but as you were saying that, right?
Yeah.
So there's this question that I've been asking my guests a lot, right? And it was really crazy because there was this one show that I had done, and after I had done it, I got bombed with questions, emails, messages. So you guys have done the college tours, and you guys have toured around. The question that these people had, all of them, were like total foodie questions, right? So it's like, if you guys are touring, where is it that you guys like? There's like a must stop. Like where do you guys go? Is there like if you're out in Dallas, Texas, you have to stop at
Yeah.
Such
if
and
we're
such.
in Dallas, Texas, we go
It's your pizza
to
place.
Fireside Pies
baby.
because they have these amazing gluten-free pizzas.
They also have this really great pineapple tuaca
Oh, yeah.
shot, which it's the only place I've ever had it at. And we just found out about it through a friend, and it's incredible. It's really good.
We definitely have places that we love
I mean, I can eat
everywhere.
unhealthy, and Maggie can eat as healthy as she wants. So it's great. Works out well.
And this guy still looks the same all the time, which is so
I
damn
hide it,
unfair.
brother. I hide it. But no, one thing I was actually going to tell you, which is why I disappeared for a second. The past 2 years, my stepdad Jim, he was a keyboard player, who introduced Maggie and I. This is how we met. About 7 years ago, he started building pedals, and this is a pedal that we have been working on for 2 years. I don't know if you kind of knew about it. You might have seen me post a few things, but I haven't really gone all out on social media about it yet because we plan on doing a pretty big launch this fall.
You showed it to me at NAMM.
Our pedal company is called Western Lund, and I did. That's right. I showed you at NAMM. Since NAMM, this thing has gone through many iterations before finally being done, but luckily we're working with Cusack out of Michigan, Holland, Michigan.
Absolutely, yeah.
And John is doing our circuit board design for the pedal. And here's our cool box. We got boxes. We've got a couple of prototypes already.
Oh,
and
dude.
I'll definitely be sending you one of these soon.
Yeah.
So these to the market. But it's a really great drive pedal. It's a very natural style drive pedal. It kind of has it covers anything from the Dumble sounds to very clean overdrives, like as a boost sound, to it can get into some TS, Tube Screamer kind of tones. It's a very, very organic, usable drive pedal. I think you'll love it. So,
man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I
man.
can't wait.
But that's
Let's
what
hear some music, man. Let's hear some music. We'll talk. We'll keep on going for sure. Everybody, this is the Imaginaries. I hope that you are enjoying this. We're going to keep on talking with them right after this. Shane Henry, Maggie McClure, the Imaginaries, my friends.
Let's do Blue Sky. We just released a new music video for this one.
Give me a second.
I'm going to see if I can play these Farmer Foot drums.
All right.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Waving goodbye with a tear in your eye as we head out towards the sun. Out of the driveway onto the highway, the day is finally come. Feeling so strong after waiting so long. I know we're gonna get there from here. With you by my side as we watch the world go by. All I need in this life is you and the blue sky. Mile after mile, turning the dial to a small town serenade. Smiling in silence, each state line reminds us of just how far we came. Feeling so strong after waiting so long. I know we're gonna get there from here. With you by my side as we watch the world go by. All I need in this life is you and the blue sky.
No matter what happens, I know we'll be fine.
We're writing the story one page at a time. With you by my side as we watch the world go by. All I need is you. With you by my side as we watch the world go by. All I need in this life is you and the blue. All I need in this life is you and the blue. All I need in this life is you and the blue sky.
Man, what a great song. You guys are just, this is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank
Y'all
you
got to
so
check
much.
out their music, everybody. So this is a self-titled record, yes?
Yes.
Self-titled, yeah.
Okay, you guys must go check this out. I've been telling everybody that comes on here, it's great to stream. It's wonderful to stream, and if you guys like it, which I think that y'all are gonna love it. I love it. I personally love it. If you guys love it that much, download it. Go download it. Go get them the money, or they can send you a physical copy, and they can tell you about how to do that. But I'll tell you, it is such a great record. It is so well done. All the songs are fantastic. There's something for everybody. Man, like I was telling y'all, if I'm having a dinner party, if I'm having a barbecue, I'm playing this record. If I'm on the road, I'm playing this record. If I just want to chill and just listen, I'm playing this record. There's something for everybody. You guys did an amazing, amazing job with it.
Thank you so much.
What was it like? What's it like, I guess, to release something during this crazy time?
Man, well, it's so crazy because we haven't even really got into the kind of the release strategy that happened with this record. So this record was recorded in the fall of 18.
Right.
The plan was to release this record in the fall of 19, okay? And we were in the studio just finishing up some of the Kickstarter specific songs, and my side was hurting all day long, and I was like, what's going on, And
Right.
that night, I was like, I need you to take me to the hospital. And so Maggie rushed me to the local hospital, and they had to take my appendix out. It was like it was literally rupturing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so within 2 hours of getting there, I was going under the knife for a surgery, which this totally blindsided us. I mean, I never had any health issues, and we certainly had never had to deal with anything like that. And so it just completely rocked our whole entire game plan for releasing this record. And this record just had to go boom, set on the shelf, because I went through this horrible surgery. I got really, really deeply sick 2 weeks after the surgery. The wound was infected. It was just awful, awful, awful. I can't even begin to explain in words the pain that I went through, and I would never want anyone to have to experience what I experienced. But it was about a 4-month recovery.
Damn.
And even after 4 months, I'm kid you not, I'm still to this day having issues from that surgery, and it just took so long to get my strength back. So we knew that, hey, you got to kind of listen to the signs that God gives you, And it was like, hey, this isn't the right time to release this record. It's a time to reset, And that's what we did. I just focused on getting well, and I told Maggie during that whole phase, I was like, it'd be really cool because we've released holiday music, which is kind of the first thing that we did as a team, just under our own names, and it was just kind of a fun project, something fun to do every year that we just did for fun. I was like, it'd be cool to send our stuff to some artists that are touring and maybe try to get on a Christmas tour or something. So we did that, and she did that. She took it and ran with it. I mean, she is she's like,
She's the
man, if you
go-getter.
weren't an artist, you should start the freaking management company. You'd be managing every great artist on the world because you're such a go-getter at that, and you're good at it.
Thank you.
But she went after Brian Setzer's manager, sent him a great email, a cold email, for crying out loud. Get a call back. Get a call back. And it was so crazy. It was hey, we listened to your record. We like it. Can we set up a call? We set up a call, and they literally offered us the tour on the phone. They said, hey, we love your record. Think you'd be great for opening for Brian Setzer on his Holiday Rocks Christmas tour. And this was the Christmas of 2019. And so we kind of came out of that season of me being sick to okay, we're going to do this Christmas tour.
And we had to get this ready.
We had to get this ready. We also kind of had recorded a couple new Christmas songs. But we had some other stuff, that was released as a Shane and Maggie. We just kind of rebranded it, put it all together as a new album, as an Imaginaries holiday CD. We were ready for this tour, and then 2 days before the first date, which happened to be in Minneapolis, we got a call from management that it was being canceled because Brian couldn't perform because of tinnitus. So it was oh my gosh, that's hit number 2. And I mean, this whole record has been dude, I kid you not, it's been a exercise of overcoming gigantic obstacles and still pushing through because the doors have just been slammed in our face. So anyways, that tour got canceled. We had a garage full of merchandise. We not only had we suffered the financial burden of my surgery and what that did, But we then come out of that and had the financial burden of printing about 20 grand worth of merch that was
Right.
going nowhere, sitting in our
Right.
garage. So just another major hit. But we picked ourselves up. We made the most of it. We booked a bunch of holiday Christmas parties, moved some of that merch down the road, made the most of that season. And then we said, okay, well, we're going to we already had a publicist on board. We'd been releasing music videos to kind of like help build
Momentum.
the brand and the momentum. And we said, okay, we're going to try to release this record in April of 2020. And that was the plan, and then COVID came. And it was like March came, and it was like, we're not going to go do a radio campaign. We're not paying a publicist. We're not paying, all the social, we had everything set up. We had a full team set up. We're like, we've got to scale this back. So what we decided to do for 20 was to do a lot of live streams, continue to release music videos. We released 4 total music videos.
And a
for the
single
record.
at a time.
Yep. And just kind of try to slowly build this thing. And then I feel like we just are to the point now where we're getting so far away from having recorded this record that we have to release it because we have so much other music that's ready to go. And not that it changes how our heart connects to this music, but it just felt like it was time to release it. I feel like with the vaccines here, we're coming down in numbers. I think it's time for people to hear something positive. I think there's never going to be a perfect time really to release music now, and we're making the most of it, man. The album just dropped last week. We've already got some pretty good numbers on Spotify with our plays, and we're just pushing forward, the best
Good
we know
for
how to
y'all,
do.
man.
And,
Good for y'all.
add to that?
I'm just really, it's hard when you're an artist of any caliber, I'm sure, but especially for independent musicians, it's like, we work so hard and for so long on a project. And for us, this has been a long time in the
and it's
making.
also a debut album, which I
Yeah.
think is really key to get that. You have to make a debut album. It's almost like we're starting over in a sense because this is a new band. And
Yeah.
people don't know our names aren't on it. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything
Right.
to best our ability to build a fan base,
Yeah, and so I'm just really proud of us we were forced to take the time, but during all of that time, we were able to really get a game plan together of what we wanted to happen with this. And so I think for me personally, and I don't know how you feel, but even though it's been this weird, strange COVID season and live shows aren't happening like normal, they're starting to pick up. Outdoor shows are starting to come up. We just got a request today for an outdoor show for June. Where was I going with that?
I don't know. You were just talking about the album release.
I was just
released all the
saying,
music videos.
it's even with all of COVID and everything that's happened, I really feel like we've done every single thing we can to promote this and give it our all. And it's a weird thing after a release. It's like, now what? But for us this time, we have so much coming up. It's this is just the beginning of the snowball.
Do you feel like sometimes like you go through that season where you just try so freaking hard? You try, and then you don't feel like anything's happening. Well, we're kind of going into a season, and it's funny, we were at dinner the other night talking about this, and it's the first time that I can remember in years that like it feels like we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and things are like, genuinely opportunities are coming our way. We just got a really cool opportunity to write a song this week, which we got a phone call on, what was it? Was it Monday?
Monday.
It was Monday to write a song for a movie, and so cool, these connections from LA are coming back around,
Beautiful.
years later, and we're writing a great song that's going to be featured in a film, and it's going to be a very featured placement, and it's specific for this movie, and they love it. And it's just going to be so cool for the Imaginaries because when this comes out, it's going to point back to our other music, and it's going to be a way for us to connect with new listeners. And so that things like that are coming out, and then we've got another movie project that we're working on that is going to come. It's going to start filming in Oklahoma in May, which is awesome.
Which we haven't really announced
yet. We haven't
yet.
announced it yet. We can't really give out details on it, but it's another really cool thing. So we have kind of some other projects in the works. And all of those are going to help point people towards the direction of checking out the Imaginaries music. So it's exciting.
Man, well, the record is fantastic. Let's hear one more tune, and we'll chat just a little bit more, and we'll say our goodbyes, man.
Yeah. So
Everybody, this is the Imaginaries.
Yeah, sure.
This is Thinking About You.
like this, Ken. So just so you know, this is my niece, Stella Jo. I wrote this song for her on her 3rd birthday. And so it goes out to Stella. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lately, I've been thinking about you and every little thing you do that makes me smile. Believe me, across my heart I swear, you are an answered prayer, a shining light. Counting down the hours till I see you soon. Lately, I've been thinking about you, been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. Skies are wide open, just stay true to who you are. Look up to the northern star, light the way. And when you're soaring high above the clouds, keep your head held up, don't look down. And if you ever need me, I'll be there for you. Lately, I've been thinking about you, been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. And if you ever feel you've lost your way, just remember that tomorrow is a brand new day. And when the storms of life get you down, just hold on, stand your ground. Lately, I've been thinking about you and every little thing you do that makes me smile. Roses and daisies by 1,000 just for you. Been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. Been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you.
Yeah. And the cool jazz chord. Yeah. Oh man, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this album is fantastic. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So the last 2 questions I have for you. One of them I'll ask you guys just both like what are you listening to right now?
What am I listening to?
What are you going to start off with that?
Well, honestly, I've been listening to some playlists I've put together of songs that are reminiscent of the songs that we're having to do right now for this movie project, which are a little bit more country leaning. I've been listening to, we love Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. There's a lot of that going on.
That record is so good.
That record is amazing. And honestly, I come back to that a lot, and that record influenced what we're doing as the Imaginaries.
Yeah, I have some I can add to,
Yeah.
to mine that I've been listening to heavily. Joey Landreth, Hindsight's a great
He's
record.
amazing.
So good. If you haven't heard that record, check it out. I've been checking out, and I've been to this guy for a long time, but he just released a new project, Bernhoft. You got to check out Bernhoft if you don't know who Bernhoft is. Incredible Norwegian soul artist. Who else? Oh, Rival Sons. I've been listening to Rival Sons a lot.
Sure.
I'm working on a little EP of my own solo stuff, and it is so far beyond opposite of what we're doing right now. It's hilarious, but it's fuzz guitars, and it's very like riff rock, and you're gonna love it. So
I love it, man.
yeah, man. That's
so
the
all
first
right.
thing
So
to mind.
here it is. I'll start with Maggie first.
Okay.
Top 3 desert island records that kind of define you, and they're those ones that you're just going to have. Top 3.
Oh man. That's really hard.
You want to work on it while I do mine? Well, I think I already kind of know
You
mine.
kind of already know yours?
I mean, it's hard to narrow down to 3, but with all the blues influence that I've had in my life, and it's really hard to pick because I love so many, but probably B.B. King Live at the Regal is one of the best blues records of all time, and that would probably be one of mine. And then it's like I go different directions because so much music has influenced me, but I'd probably have to say Jeff Buckley Grace is probably another one of my all-time favorite records of all time. And then that third one is just tough but I think for me, I think it just has to be because of the time when I was so influenced to get into music was hearing Tom Petty on the Wildflowers tour.
Wow.
And so that I was like 11 or 12. And so it would be the Tom Petty's Wildflowers record. So that would probably be my top three. And if I could add another one or two, I'd probably put, Hendrix, be Axis Bold as Love for me. And then maybe like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas Flood,
Wow.
Yeah. I think, I'd probably go back to some albums that I started out listening to and being obsessed with. If you're going to be stranded on an island for the end of your life, maybe go back to the music that started your love of music. I think I love Beautiful, Carole King, the album. That's not the name of the album,
I think
though.
it's Tapestry.
It's Tapestry is what I'm thinking. I love that album. I think there's a Sarah McLachlan album called Afterglow that I was obsessed with, so probably that. And maybe something newer, like that I still was pretty obsessed with when it first came out.
Hey, you know what? I'm not trying to embarrass you on this podcast, but you haven't mentioned your favorite band, Hanson.
My favorite band, Hanson.
She loves Hanson, dude.
I love Hanson. What's wrong with that?
It's okay. They're great. I like Hanson too.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're
should
cool.
definitely
I love
put a
Hanson.
Hanson record in there.
Maybe I will.
Take
it back to Umbop.
Well, it's so funny because Ken, like through the years of living in LA, I became good friends with Zane and Reeve Carney.
Right.
And they played the Tulsa, I don't know, it was like called D-Fest, like in 2009 or 10. And we went to hang out with them and hear them. And they were good friends with Hanson. And so, like, it was so funny. We were hanging out with them afterwards, and, like, Hanson was there. And Maggie was, like, so hilarious because she was the quietest mouse
So
in the room.
quiet.
She could not say a word. She was just, like, so flippin' starstruck, man. It was like all it took was those three boys just do her in,
Well, I first saw them when I was 8.
I mean, it's totally cool.
And it was, like, so cool to see kids, like, playing a show. I was like,
Right.
Yeah.
And then ever since, I've been a fan. It's true.
God, and the degrees of separation are just ridiculous.
I
'cause,
know. And now we have.
so funny.
yeah,
Now we know
like-
them pretty
Yeah,
well.
now we
We
know
know them
them.
from Reeve and Zane, and also our bass player from LA, Andrew Peruzzi.
Right.
He moved all the way to Tulsa to be the bass player, like join their band. So he actually moved from LA to Tulsa. He played on my Light in the Dark record. And
Oh, my
Yeah, so
goodness.
now it's like we know them. We know them. They know who we are. We don't know them like best.
Yeah.
friends,
Small
but,
world,
yeah.
though, man.
Small world.
And I would also consider like a soundtrack album. I was like super heavy into soundtracks as a kid and
Wizard of
teenager.
Oz?
Well, yeah. I mean, Somewhere Over the Rainbow is amazing.
man.
But like movies like That Thing You Do, I
man,
loved that
such a great
soundtrack so
That was
much.
a cool soundtrack, right? That's
Dude,
like
that
one of
was
the.
awesome. Hey, wasn't the guy that wrote a bunch of that stuff from Minneapolis? I don't know who actually wrote all that stuff. I'd have to look that up after this, but
Was it Dan Wilson?
I don't remember. I want to say it was somebody like that. I'm curious now, but the songwriting on that record was so killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
was
Totally nailed
obsessed.
that. They nailed that Beatlesy vibe,
Totally.
Right. Wow,
Yes.
man. Wow. Well, where can people find you?
So we're on all the things.
Yeah, it's
Imaginaries Band,
Imaginaries Band. Imaginariesband.com is our website.
and where you can get CDs as well.
physical CDs on there, shirts, all the good stuff, bracelets. We have tons of merch actually, and
T-shirts, all
we
that
were actually smart, dude. We didn't get any like tour specific merch. other
besides
Good.
a poster.
so we can still sell all this merch for the next 10 years.
And we
you know?
still have Brian Setzer posters if you want one.
We do. Isn't that funny?
That's
And
great.
it's crazy, like all the dates that
I
we were
love
supposed to
it.
do but didn't get to do. But
I remember talking to you about that and just going,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, that
it was
just."
just,
uh,
for lack of better words, man, it was just like a kick in the nuts.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
we
no,
were
I'm
coming out of a season where
sure.
we really needed something cool to happen, and I'll never forget because we were driving in the Sprinter van that we had rented from Nashville, actually from Dolly Parton's manager, which we know really well. His name is Danny Nozell. He rented us a Sprinter van, And we were taking it with a tour manager that we connected with through Danny to go with us on this tour. And we were already on the road. And you know, like when a little kid hurts themselves and you see the look on their face, like before the sound comes out, like
Yes.
you know that it's getting ready to be really bad because they fell and they're getting ready to just start screaming. I look over at Maggie and it was like a similar thing. It was like the look on her face. She actually saw the news of the tour getting canceled from a Twitter post.
Oh my gosh.
And then the actual phone call came in a few minutes after that.
Right.
It was like that kind of situation because we've worked so hard, you know, to get an opportunity, and you know how hard it is to get an opportunity like that. It's really, really difficult.
And we were really ready, and we were really.
I think we had it. We had a great show worked up, and we were ready to kick butt.
And it really did feel like someone was just like a super gut punch, and then the rug pulled out at the same time.
But honestly, like I think that if touring does go back, and if Brian does do the tour this year, which hopefully he can tour. I don't even know like what his condition is, but I think that they'll go. You know what? Let's have the Imaginaries do this. So we know how bad it sucked for them to lose the tour not once but twice.
Yeah, right.
The first time
COVID.
He couldn't tour because of freaking tinnitus, and then it was crazy because I ran into Scott, his manager at NAMM, when I saw you last in 2020 before the pandemic hit over. And Scott was like, "Yeah, it's looking like things are actually going to get better. We're going to try to do the tour in 2020." And of course, couldn't do it because of COVID. I mean, so I'm hoping third time's a charm, baby.
Let's hope that's the case, man. Everybody, go check out the Imaginaries on all their socials and their website. Go listen to this record. There's something for everybody on it. You know, Shane has that whole blues side, and Maggie has that. Again, forgive me, that whole Dolly Parton kind of beautiful voice, man. And the songs all work. This, as of right now, is probably my favorite record of the year.
Thank you, man.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
that good. It's
Thank you,
that
brother.
good. The songs, the writing, the voices. I love it. And I'm sure that you guys are going to love it. So go check them out. I think that's probably going to be about it. So,
great.
man, thank you all for hanging.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, brother.
We got Sorry Shore, I believe, next week. So it's going to be some blues rock and good old times with her. That's going to be fun. And again, thank you guys so very much. And go check them out, y'all. The Imaginaries. Go listen to their record right now because it's damn good. We'll see you later on. See you next time. Be good to each other. Take care of one another. Bye-bye.